Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back. This is it. Today's the day. We're going to finish off this beautiful ash burl top Telecaster from Solo Music Gear today. You guys have seen me do this from start to finish. It's got this beautiful, beautiful ash burl top. It's a veneer, and I did some work. The whole thing's been finished in Mohawk finishing products. You can check those out in the link in the description, the Amazon link if you want. There's a list for them. And then on the back, we've got our gold finish, our semi-transparent that kind of changes opacity as you change the angle. So we're gonna have to pick some hardware to match this thing and get it done. That's right, we're changing up the hardware. The stuff that came with this is all kind of, you know, one, inexpensive, and two, chrome. And yeah, I've got kind of a gold theme going on here with a black binding. So we're gonna make some changes. And in the process, we're gonna make some upgrades. We did have a couple tough choices here, but we'll go through all the stuff that I'm gonna be putting in and where you can get it in case you wanna do the same. So for starters, very important when you get a kit, one of the first things that I like to, I know I'm gonna upgrade every time, they're cheap and well worth it, is the nut. This is a Tusk XL nut. It's a Fender style one. There's really no reason not to do this. They're better. I took off the other one before I even started doing the fretwork, and now I'm gonna put this guy in its place. This is available through Solo Music Gear, just like the kit is. Now, since we're starting up top in the headstock region with this discussion, the tuning pegs, I've got those cheap chrome tuning pegs that come with the kit. I was thinking of putting some black ones on or some gold ones, but I'm doing a lot of gold and I want some black in there too. So I looked at these and then I found a better option. So I knew I wanted something dark, I knew I wanted locking, and ideally staggered. Staggered posts are different heights. They're the best option in my opinion. I love staggered posts. So what I found, our Solo has just come out with these recently, the Solo Pro, and these are the Solo Pro Black Nickel, which are nice and dark, but not, let me see if I can get you to focus in a little easier there. Nice and dark, but not quite black. They're beautiful. And they're locking. They're great quality. I've tried a different set of them. But yeah, Solo Pro Black Nickel, staggered 6-in-line tuners for this guy. So that's gonna be an awesome upgrade. One nice thing about the Solo Pro is, while they're really high quality, they're actually pretty inexpensive because they're not like, you know, Goto or one of those really expensive brands. So I've tried them, I love them, and they're going on this guy. All right, moving down. You know that we took off the pick guard entirely. We filled in the holes. That thing is gone, and I routed out that pocket for a humbucker. So I'm going with one of my go-tos, also from Solo Music Gear. That's, I guess everything's from there so far. I'm gonna destroy this bag pulling this out off camera. Wilkinson humbucker, gold with a black pickup ring. I think this is gonna look awesome. It's the neck humbucker. I've got one of these in my Les Paul kit that you will have seen me do. The Les Paul kit that looks like that guy, spalted. Yes, you can see that this only covers a small portion of my garage. Anyway, really nice pickup. Happy with that. And then the bridge, I'm switching to a Wilkinson single coil tele style bridge. So that's gonna be a nice little upgrade from this. Different hole pattern. I've had to drill different holes for it. Just make sure that your saddles are in the same place if you're going to be making a change like that. I still got the other holes from the other bridge in case I want to switch back, because this is the more vintage style bridge. So now I can swap between the two and they cover the holes when they're on there, so it's not a problem. Okay, what else are we working with here? Right, strap locks. Well, I'm switching from those cheap strap buttons to gold strap locks. Again, Solo Music Gear. All of this is available from Solo Music Gear. Now let's talk about something that isn't. I had a bit of a tougher choice on the electronics. Solo does have their Emerson electronics, which are a nice upgrade, but I've got two great options here from two companies that I really like: Obsidian Wire and Gun Street Wiring Shop. And I had to pick between these. So we've got, let's take a look at them both real quick here. We've got the Obsidian Wire version that you guys have probably seen. Some mad scientist nonsense going on in there. It's crazy. These things are mounted onto a plate. You bolt them in, they fit only the standard sizes. That's fine because I'm using a standard size gold plate. And they're solderless. You just insert the strings into this mechanism. It's crazy. The guys who make these are genius. So that is really cool, and it's it's got a couple extra options. I forget what exactly the difference is here, but I've tested them before. They sound awesome. Really easy to take in and out of guitars too, because they're solderless. So that's one option. Great company if you're interested in their stuff. Obsidian wire link in the description. I think that one's an affiliate link. And then the other option here was the Gun Street Wiring Shop. Beautiful components, really high quality, nice stuff. This guy or these guys do fantastic work, and I use their wiring kits more than anything else because I don't like wiring and I'm not good at it, and they're insane. Let me show you something else they did really quick. If you haven't seen this one, this is the custom one that's going on my metal top Stratocaster. Like, how am I supposed to figure out how to do stuff like this? This is why these guys are here. All right, decision is made. The Gun Street Wiring Shop link is also in the description. Those guys are awesome. Check them out. I'm going to save that one though for a different Telecaster project where I'm going to be putting in a kill switch from Iron Age guitars. If you guys haven't seen them, check them out too on Instagram. They got some awesome stuff. Their kill switches are really cool. They make insane guitar picks. And I am using one part from them on this. It's going to be, well, I shouldn't say one part, two of them. The knobs, these are shell. Let's see if I can show you this. Shell knobs, they're really cool looking. They've got an interesting chunk of shell there. And they've got that same blackened nickel look that I have on the tuning pegs for symmetry, right? Okay, I think that's about it. Anything that I've missed, I will try to cover as we go. So let's get started, get this thing put together, and then we can test it out. Well, that's embarrassing. I guess this is not standard size. It's a little bit different than the typical switch plate, where the Obsidian wire kit would fit just fine. So I'm going to have to do something with a little bit more flexibility. I guess we're using the Gun Street Guitars one. Luckily, although the Gun Street kit uses some slightly larger than average parts because they're, nice high quality pieces, they are flexible, so they fit in here just fine. So I'm going ahead and getting that installed on my plate there. I'm surprised that the plate isn't standard size, but hey, what can you do? Next up, I'm going to go ahead and shield all the cavities to make sure that this thing isn't noisy. It's not so bad with a humbucker in the neck, but I want that single coil in the bridge to sound good and be nice and quiet too. I don't want any extra buzz. So the copper shielding tape, in my opinion, is the best way to do this. I'm using a pencil to kind of burnish it in place, and I, of course, use the lead end to open up any of the holes that I need to pass wires through. If you want the most thorough of shielding jobs, you can go in with a finishing nail and kind of poke the overlapping areas between the copper tape to create a connection between them, or you can solder them together, and then you can solder wires or even guitar strings from one cavity to the next to get as close as possible to a full Faraday cage. I've found that it's completely unnecessary, but then I don't play next to neon signs or really in public at all. So for me, never been an issue, and I've never seen it be an issue, but if you're playing under a giant sign that says get your beer here, it could potentially be something that you need to consider. I don't know. I haven't tried. By the way, we've talked about pretty much every part that we're putting into this thing, but if you are looking for one of the kits themselves, this beautiful Burl Telecaster kit and most of the other kits that I build are of course available at solomusicgear.com. There's an affiliate link in the description which you can use if you want one and if you want to help me out. Once we get this copper shielding tape in there, it's time to go ahead and install the pickup. Now, this Wilkinson pickup has longer mounting pegs than the single coil that was in there before, and I didn't deepen anything when I routed, so I had to saw a little bit off of those screws. Wasn't a problem, just used a hacksaw, but there we go, had to do that. Always pre-drill a pilot hole when you go to install these things so that you don't rip up any wood or finish. So you just saw me go in with a very small drill bit to do that before I put the screws in, and then, well, I put the screws in. Next up, we're going to ground the bridge, so I'm just using the black wire that actually came with the kit. Very straightforward. I feed it through the little hole to the bridge pickup cavity, and then fold it over there. You can see it sticking out, and then I can install my bridge. So I do that by feeding that wire through first and then putting the bridge down. As I said, I had to put in some new holes to mount this. So if you're doing that, measure twice, drill once, so to speak. Make sure that the thing is squared up and in the right place so that the bridge itself, the saddles, match up to where they were before. You want a little bit of range on either side of the scale length, which you can calculate by taking the distance from the nut to the 12th fret and then measuring that again from the 12th fret down to get the bridge position. Now it's time to do the soldering, which is a part that I don't like, but it's very straightforward with these kits because most of the hard stuff is already done. So all I need to do is create my little pool of solder on the back of each of the pots. If you're having trouble with that and it's not sticking properly, just scuff it up a little bit with a little bit of sandpaper and you won't have as much of an issue. I'm putting some tape in the way here so that I don't have to worry so much about burning my finish. Oh, this is a useless angle. So you'll see on the next one. So we're taking the grounding and we're grounding to the back of the pots. And the wiring kit comes with a diagram. It's very straightforward. But we just heat up that puddle of solder that we've put in there with the wire, and then we add a little bit more to make sure that it's, buried under some nice solder. You want your solder joint to be nice and shiny. If it comes out dull, it's a cold solder joint and it might break. Pretty straightforward. So we solder those to the back. I will leave it up to you to determine how you want to solder the switch. I just followed the diagram that came with the kit, but there are lots of options out there. So this, unlike the Obsidian wire kits, gives you the option to customize and kind of do what you want with it. So have fun, get on Google, figure out what it is that you want to do. Remember, when you're doing the output jack, the tip is hot and the sleeve is ground, and I always hold the soldering iron on the opposite side of the lug from the solder like you just saw me do there. Next up, I'm putting in my new strap locks because not only do they look better and feel good and all of that good stuff, but I don't like displaying all of my guitars with straps on them. So I have a limited number of straps that I use for all my guitars, and I want strap locks so that I can move them around. Anyway, we're replacing the nut, as I said earlier. They do come a little bit big usually, so you can sand them or file them down. I find that the file is the better option here. It allows me to make sure I'm getting nice flat edges where I need them, and I can round off where I don't need the flat edge. So I get that filed down to size using the neck to measure it and mark it with a pencil. And then I'm just actually using a leveling beam, a 6-inch fret leveling beam from Skyscraper Guitars, to make sure that that's flush with the side of the neck and feels good. Next up, I'm putting in my tuning pegs at 300 times speed because there's not much to this. You press them into place. If they're a little bigger, ream out the holes a little bit if you need to. Make sure they're all nice and straight, and then go ahead and put the nuts in from the top. You can either use a socket from a regular socket set to do this. You can use a cheap little crescent wrench like I'm going to use because it's handy and I don't feel like opening up my socket set and it's the same thing. Or you can spend a substantial amount of money and get a socket that has the StewMac brand name on it and does the same thing. Your call, do as you will, but you want those reasonably tight so that they're not going to shift around and so that they're not going to come loose rather. You do not want them so tight that they press into the surface of the wood. They will press in and indent your finish, and on most of these woods they will actually press in and indent the wood itself if you tighten them up too much. And it's completely unnecessary because most of them have something to keep them straight already. They've got a screw or another fastening system in the back. This one, as you can see here, has the small screws in the back, and I've already got the holes in place from when I did the mock-up with the stock hardware, but if you don't, make sure you drill a pilot hole. These screws are tiny. You will ruin them if you don't. Well guys, there it is. I know I say this pretty much every time, but I'm super happy with that. Look at that. Woo! Alright, that is it. That is the completed build. She's done, ready to go, ready to play. Feels good, looks good. Yeah, can't complain about that. Everything about this basically turned out the way that I wanted, so I am very happy. Even the fretboard just looks pristine after that tongue oil work. I assume you guys have seen the prior videos in this series, but if you haven't, check them out. I do have a playlist for this one. And of course, if you want one of these kits, check out the solo music gear link in the description, which is where you can also get pretty much all the stuff that I used on it. So now comes the time that, well, this is the part I'm not very good at. I'm gonna play this thing so that you can get a sense of how it sounds, and I readily admit I'm not very good at that. I don't practice very often. I don't have much time to do so, so I think mostly when you guys see me do demos, which is rarely, that's when I play guitar. But anyway, we'll give this thing a quick spin, so to speak, see how she sounds, and that'll be it for this series. If you guys like the series and this guitar, please feel free to give this video a thumbs up. I would appreciate it. Remember to subscribe so you can see the next build, and let's get right into this demo. She actually sustains pretty good. Sounds good. Really is a shame I'm so bad at playing this thing. Anyway guys, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. Have a good one, and I will see you next time.